Hello, everyone. Ripple Swell is absolutely cooking right now, folks. We've got Ryan Rugg in the hot seat. He's the mastermind behind Citibank's entire digital assets operation. When someone from Citi shows up, you know something's brewing. Oh, and the CEO of G Treasury just spilled the tea on how their whole partnership came together. I'm talking insider details here, the stuff that actually shows us where Ripple and XRP are taking this thing. Treasury companies are taking center stage, and look, the flood of announcements coming out of Swell is borderline overwhelming. I'm doing my best to catch everything as it rolls in. Enough setup, though. Let's hear what Ryan Rugg brought to the table. Listen to this.
Our strategy is really three-pronged: build, buy, partner. And, if you think about the build, we've been building what's called Citi Token Service the last couple years, where we've really started to scale over the last year. And really what we're trying to solve for is real-time liquidity and payments, that 24/7, 365, instant movement of money across borders. So we're live in US, UK, Hong Kong, and Singapore. We strategically targeted our largest money hubs that have the most amount of friction. We're adding additional currencies and markets later this year, as well as, partnering. Partnering is really important. I've been in this space a decade. There's a lot of great technologies out there and companies out there. We recently announced our partnership with Coinbase, which I think is really important. So, we view this as a new set of rails. And if our institutional clients want to be able to have access this market, we want to do it through, building as well as partnerships and in investing. We're a very active investor in this space as well.
The head of digital assets at Citibank just looked straight into the camera and declared crypto and DLT are the future infrastructure of money. That's not some random analyst. That's Citibank. Now picture this. Every single heavyweight from the biggest banks on the planet is echoing the exact same message. The direction is crystal clear at this point. Timing, though? Yeah, that's the billion-dollar guessing game we're all playing. Now here's where it gets juicy. The CEO of G Treasury just broke down the whole origin story of how they linked up with Ripple. I'm not going to lie, this clip is pretty fire. CoinDesk is absolutely crushing it at Swell, by the way. They're camping outside these panel rooms and catching people right as they step off stage. Raw, unfiltered takes. Take a listen.
Is what's happening. So then you see Ripple coming in, and they make a prime services acquisition, and now they've acquired your company to have not only, I think, the software, but the access and the brain share. This is looking very much more and more like a very diversified financial services company. How has it been so far? And what's the food like? And
food is exceptional, by the way. Yes. So it's been a whirlwind. I signed the deal actually flying over Australia and talked to our customers there.
Right.
It's an explosion of excitement. Mostly right now we're in the 8th stage of education, right? A lot of treasurers try to understand not what crypto or stablecoins can do or what they are, but what does it enable them to do? And so this faster pace of money movement will allow for use cases that they've never thought about before.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about that. I mean, what does this combination with Ripple actually mean for treasurers? Give us an example. You mentioned some companies that everyone knows about, American Airlines being one of them. What does that mean for the treasurer there?
So first off, it means, one, that they can move money faster. I think one of the things that Ripple enables us to do is think about the piece of execution and bringing innovation. So all of a sudden, we orchestrate 13 trillion of payments on behalf of our clients. Now we will have an option to make a different type of payment. Whether our clients take it or not will depend. But also we manage 250 billion in the accounts that we monitor for our clients. And think about a time where they can now move money instantly and get yield. What we notice about those accounts is on nights and weekends, there's virtually no activity. So imagine a world now where Ripple brings a product that can make that money work. So when we talk about this deal, there's a lot to talk about, but one of the really interesting things is around making the money more active. And I think that benefits not just Ripple and G Treasury and our clients, but the entire ecosystem. All of a sudden, all the banks, everyone gets to participate in that activation of liquidity. And I think that's going to be one of the more interesting use cases that we start to look at.
So clearly, neither you nor your client.
You know what blows my mind? We're probably only scratching the surface here. There are blockchain solutions out there for problems we don't even realize exist yet. That's the wild part about being in this industry. You literally can't get bored. Every morning feels like opening a present because there's always something brand new to wrap your head around. Now, yeah, some days it's overwhelming as hell, like trying to sip water from a freight train. But that's exactly why I'm here. I want this channel to be your translator, taking all that technical noise and turning it into something we can actually chat about over coffee. Honestly, I'm geeking out hard over this stuff. Okay, enough rambling. Let's roll the next clip and listen to this.
And one of the clients there said, look, I'm too scared about crypto. And then I said, well, what if we could give you a product that moves your money in minutes? Mm-hmm. And he immediately connected that to, I have 2 subsidiaries in Europe that are holding 50 million extra cash because they're worried about their payments in 3 or 5 days of settlement. I could free up 50 million and create yield if you could bring that to me. I'm ready. So it's that education that we're going to really spend a lot of time on.
It sounds like it's really also about abstracting some of that scary language away, right? Not talking about crypto, but talking about the solution, and maybe not even having to explain how the infrastructure works.
You're already ahead of us. I think in some ways this industry, I would say, loves talking about the components. Mm-hmm. But if you think about banks, they sort of just say, don't worry about it. Push it into our institution and we'll get it to the other side. I think there will be some of that could really help adoption here.
Now, $50 million, boom, back in play. Now multiply that feeling across every single company worldwide that's got cash stuck in limbo because our financial plumbing from the 1970s can't keep up. We're staring down trillions of dollars just sitting there, frozen, doing absolutely nothing. What happens when that dam breaks? Suddenly you've got businesses staffing up like crazy, rolling out ideas they shelved years ago, cutting deals they could only dream about before, or doubling down on what's already working. The playing field finally levels out. No more waiting around while your money takes a vacation through correspondent banks. Quick shout out to the minds at G Treasury. These folks right here deserve some serious recognition. Love seeing the actual humans building this future. Oh, and Subject Views just dropped this gem. Based on everything we've witnessed over the last few years, it should be crystal clear to everybody by now. The XRP ledger is purpose-built for institutional finance. Can't argue with that observation. Take a listen.
Assets firm that does a lot of work on the XRP ledger, which is another example of a ledger that is designed for institutional finance. So in terms of the regulatory environment, I agree with what Marcella said. I think I would add, there has been a problem of oversimplification, which I think goes back to the fact that regulators and central banks are still learning about these technologies, and over the last few years they have lacked a detailed technical understanding of the sorts of features that public blockchains can have in order to mitigate the sorts of concerns that they have. So I've had conversations in the past where it really seems that they're most familiar with something like the Bitcoin ledger, and that's what they're thinking about, and they're identifying why that couldn't be used for institutional finance. So I think many of us would agree with that assessment, but there is a growing appreciation, and this is very welcome, of the diversity of blockchains, and that some blockchains have been purpose built to address the sorts of concerns that regulators have. But I think the key challenge for us as an industry is actually one of educating regulators and central banks and making sure they have the expertise, the technical expertise that they need in order to be able to judge whether or not a particular blockchain delivers the sorts of outcomes that they are looking for. And that's I think it's that's a challenge for them, but it's also a challenge for us.
Okay, listen up. Education, that's the secret sauce right here. This is literally our ticket to bringing in the next 100 million, possibly 200 million folks into the crypto and blockchain world. We're helping people transform their lives, zip money around in seconds, and honestly, the possibilities are pretty much endless at this point, right? AngelList equals now Rail, now Ripple. Client reveal Ripple. Rail and Palisade will be unified into the XRP ledger. So check this out. There's some serious action going down right now. Ripple payments, Ripple Rail, Palisade, They're basically merging into one giant superpowered entity here. I'm definitely going to keep bringing you all the fresh updates as this story unfolds. Oh, and there's an interview lined up with Eleanor Terrett, Brad Garlinghouse, plus a couple other fascinating voices. I'm genuinely pumped to dive into that conversation and share all the juicy insights with you. I'm keeping this one short and sweet today. Just wanted to drop some quick highlights about what's buzzing around Swell at the moment. Hopefully you're digging the content so far. Hopefully you're staying locked in, picking up some valuable knowledge along the way. Catch you in the next one.